I hadn't planned on doing a third part of my Signs in the Heavens videos, but I thought of something today when I was on a walk, and I've been looking at my phone, seeing, well, what have happened in the stars and why. And I think that's very interesting that while some things have not changed, and they will, by the way, these planets will move out of these constellations. They're even moving now, but so slowly we can't perceive it. But we see also some changes in the heavens with the moon. And one thing I brought up to my son, I thought was interesting that God has aligned the moon in its apogee and perigee to move through all 12 constellations. Now, why isn't the moon doing this and the constellations are out here? Or why is it doing this? Or, why is it going? It's like it's always pointing to or on its way to a constellation. Is it like it's pointing to something to get your attention while the other planets are pointing to something in another constellation that gets your attention? And so, again, like I said in part two, is it possible that moon is a pointer, but all the planets are like nouns, and all the constellations are like adverbs or adjectives, I should say, because they're modifying the noun. There's no verb yet. So you have a noun and an adjective. And then you kind of have to infer, just like we do when we're translating words from Greek to English, for example. We might say God, love. Well, we got to infer the is. No, God is love. The idea that, we have these two nouns together. If you got somebody ran and then the adjective was swiftly, then we have to infer that word in there, even though you have the noun and you have the word, one word that means run swiftly. But we have to put in, three words there. Man, run swiftly, and then we go, the man runs swiftly, because we know it's a definite man, not just any old man. So we have to grow the sentence a little bit by inference of this is a direct object, that's a noun, and it's moving swiftly. So, this is how translation happens. It's not indirect, it is direct. So using grammatical understanding is how we can take and translate correctly from one language to another. Well, I'm stating that it's very possible we have these languages in the stars. And we have one as a pointer that points out certain nouns that are being acted on, or that are a part of the ongoing sentence of where the other characters, the other nouns are moving through different sentences. And to create a sentence or to create a story, and that story is ongoing. And it just keeps moving. What got me to think about this was I was wondering where the moon was today, because yesterday it was in the branch, it was in Virgo, and now it moved up to Libra, which is judgment. I'm like, ooh, you went from branch to judgment? Well, that'll preach. And then I got to look ahead. Well, what is the next constellation after Libra? It's Scorpio, the wounding, or the one who wounds, or to wound. And it depends on the context, of what that means. It isn't just he was the wounded son, but it's also this person will wound. But we're not talking about Christ here. What's the main focal point of the sentence that we have so far? So let me go back and look at this. And I've looked to see the stars and the suns has not changed in the last few days that I've been looking at this. We still have the idea of Mars is inside of the water bearer, the one pouring down on the earth, and I believe Saturn stands for the rebellious one. And who is that? Well, right now I'm going to say that the United States is in the biggest problems we've ever had when it comes to rebellion. And then we have Saturn's daughter, and I'm going to get in trouble by saying that would be Israel, because Israel is more a daughter of America right now than it would be a daughter. Now, this could be just the world and the people of the world. It could be that too. Okay, I wouldn't split a church on that. But either way, it's war coming to the world and the people of the world. But then we go to what I was saying with Pisces. We have Pisces represents humanity, and you have the focal point, which is the sun, which is God, and you have the message to the people. So far you would have war, conflict coming to either America and Israel, or to the world and its people, and that God is sending a message to the people, to humanity. And then, of course, we saw that Jupiter was and is still in Aries, which I've said before, Jupiter represents the focal point. It also represents the dominant one. In many places, it would represent Christ, but here it's in Aries, which is the substitute. Now, the substitute is a good thing in a sense, but a substitute can also be the false, the false. So this could be pointing to anti-Christ, anti-major player, and we see that coming. And then, of course, what happens is Jupiter is moving out. So we have that storyline going, but we have also the movement of the moon to add to the story. The moon is over the branch, so the moon is covering the branch. The moon is pointing to the branch. Why didn't the moon go through again? Like I said, when the moon is in its apogee and perigee, it's hitting all of the constellations, but why is it hitting him in certain places? Why isn't the moon hitting hitting her across the stomach or across the face or across the legs? Why over the branch? And then we had the moon move today. I mean, here it is. Then it's still at the branch. It's leaving the branch. This one's upside down. I took it upside down. But you have it moving the branch. And now it's left the branch. And it was in Libra this morning, the judging. But it passes through judgment. What's coming up next? It's in Scorpio. The wounding. So is this telling us things that are going to happen? Now, biblically, we know that this lines up really perfectly with the Revelation. You have conflict coming to a sinful nations, and that could be dominant nations. It could be, like I said, you have to keep this a little bit open on interpretation, but conflict coming to either America or Israel or to world and the people. And this is a message from God to the people, to humanity. And we had the branch. We're pointing out to the branch. But then we also talked about in Aries, we talked about the false leader coming up, and that he's covering up the branch. So he is actually covering up the branch. He's covering up the branch, which makes sense. Then he's going to be a one who has scales in false judgment, and then he's going on to wound. Does all this make sense? Yes, it does. It's interesting. And the next one after Scorpio comes the Archer, And so what's this happening? We're aiming. We're getting ready to pull the trigger. All of this is about to happen. Is it in the stars right now? Can you just get yourself your own app? Like I said, I've pointed out this app several times. Skyview Light. Let me get that on there so you can find it. And look this up yourself. See what it has to say. All I'm saying is that I'm going to be watching the stars through this and seeing how the story envelops. But like I said, it makes sense to me from an eschatological point of view right now. All I'm just saying is it possible? And what does that mean in the future? Well, it's just us showing what God is doing, so we see another touchstone that God is moving, but he's moving in more into end time things. I mean, how do you prepare for this? You pray, you get alongside him, and then the stuff's going to happen, whether it happens because of this or it happens because of the Bible, which the Bible is true. It's going to happen. Is he giving us a warning? That's what I'm saying. Is there a warning in the heavens going on right now? And today is the 30th of March. Is this going to come with the eclipse? Is this going to come with, we have Passover coming and all the red heifer stuff going on with Israel and all kinds of inflammatory things going on? The pushing for the temple in the next 25 days. How will that affect March? And then we're going to a very tumultuous election this year. All these things unfolding. We have inflation and many of the problems we have in America especially, but also in Israel and other parts of the planet. Look at the stars. Maybe God's warning. Just look and see.